D-Day bombs dropped on Indian citizens on the then government's orders. March 5, 1966, was the day when fighters rained incendiary bombs and strafed many urban clusters in what was then the Lashai Hills district of Assam in response to an outbreak of insurgency there. The bombing of the country's citizens was ordered by then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. The Mizo National Front, MNF, which was then an insurgent outfit, it is a registered political party and is in government in Mizoram, now declared independence from India in the early hours of March 1, 1966. Following this declaration, MNF rebels launched coordinated attacks on the Indian Army and paramilitary installations all over the Lashai Hills, the present-day state of Mizoram. In the wee hours of March 1, 1966, MNF rebels attacked the district treasury at Aizawl and camps of police and security forces at Lunglei and Champai. These two towns were captured by the MNF. The rebels attacked the Assam Rifles Battalion headquarters at Aizawl, and an Assam Rifles patrol party was ambushed in the Shanmari area of Aizawl, the present state capital, on the night of March 3, resulting in the deaths of 5 Jawans of the paramilitary force. The Union government panicked. Nagaland was already beset with insurgency, and the then Union Home Minister Gulzarilal Nanda raised the alarm after receiving intelligence reports about MNF chief Laldenga's plans. Laldenga had established contact with Pakistan, and the latter had been supplying arms and other equipment to the MNF, besides providing safe havens in East Pakistan, present-day Bangladesh, to the rebels. The Lashai Hills shared a 318-kilometer-long border with East Pakistan. In 5 years, by February 1966, the strength of the MNF had swelled to 8 battalions, thanks to aid and training by the Pakistani army. A plan, codenamed Operation Jericho, was then put in place. As per this plan, MNF rebels would launch surprise attacks on government treasuries, fuel stations, and police stations, and take over camps and bases of Indian security forces. Operation Jericho also involved taking senior non-Mizo government officers serving in the Lashai Hills as hostages. After neutralizing the police and capturing army and paramilitary bases, the MNF planned to raise the flag of independent Mizoram in Aizawl and keep it flying for 48 hours. Pakistan assured Laldenga that it, along with some other countries, would take the matter to the United Nations and get the world body to grant recognition to Mizoram as an independent nation. Pakistan promised to grant diplomatic recognition to the new country immediately. As per the plan, hatched with considerable help from Pakistan, MNF rebels started attacking government installations and the Assam Rifles Battalion in Aizawl. But Assam Rifles Jawans, though taken by surprise, held out for 3 days. They were running short of ammunition and made desperate appeals to rush reinforcements. On March 4, it appeared that the besieged Assam Rifles Battalion headquarters would fall to the rebels and Operation Jericho would become successful. It was then that Home Minister Nanda and his boss, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, panicked. Sending reinforcements to the Lashai Hills would take time, since the MNF rebels had taken control of the roads leading to Aizawl, and army or paramilitary convoys using these roads ran the grave risk of being ambushed. There was also little chance of airdropping forces, since most parts of Lashai Hills had been overrun by the rebels by then. There was sketchy intelligence on the strength of their rebels, how well they were armed, and the location of their camps. The only option, decided Indira Gandhi, was to send in IF fighters to bomb Aizawl and other places where the rebels were concentrated in. But that was akin to using a cannon to kill a mosquito. And there was the grave moral and ethical aspect also of using such lethal force on one's own fellow citizens. But these concerns did not weigh on Gandhi's mind as she ordered the IF to launch a full-scale assault on the Lashai Hills. IAF fighters, hunters and Tufanis were dispatched, mainly from the IAF space in Kumpurgram in nearby Barak Valley, Assam, to bomb Aizawl and 9 other major villages in the Lushai Hills over 4 days from March 5th. On March 5th and 6th, hundreds of incendiary bombs reduced houses, schools, churches, and even government healthcare centers in Aizawl to ashes. Nearly all of Aizawl's 10,000-odd residents had fled the town when the rebels started attacking government establishments on March 1st and had taken shelter in nearby villages or the forests. That's why, despite the hundreds of incendiary bombs dropped on Aizawl, the death toll of civilians stood only at 15. After destroying Aizawl, IAF fighters bombed Kauzawl village on March 6th, Arlan village on March 7th, Sangao village on March 8th, Plabung village on March 9th, Pukpui village on March 13th and Bungman village on March 23rd. But the bombings continued intermittently over other areas even after March. The Union government ensured all news of the bombings was blacked out, and the country or the rest of the world never got to know about the perfidy immediately. A team visited Aizawl on March 30th and collected a lot of evidence of the bombings. They submitted a report. The report was tabled in the Assam Assembly and can be found in the Assembly archives, stating that IAF fighters dropped incendiary bombs that reduced large parts of Aizawl, including the government circuit house there to ashes. But Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, while rubbishing the report of the fact-finding mission, claimed that only rations and medicines were para-dropped from IAF cargo planes for the besieged Assam Rifles soldiers in Aizawl. Immediately after the Prime Minister made this statement on the floor of the Lok Sabha, Swell rose and countered her. He produced photos of the devastation of Aizawl and the casings of the shells, bombs, dropped by the IAF fighters over Aizawl. An uproar ensued, but a weak opposition could not create enough noise to force Gandhi to retract her statement. The bombings were followed by large-scale induction of troops into the Lushai Hills to carry out counter-insurgency operations. And those operations were brutal as well. Army and paramilitary forces ordered the evacuation of hundreds of villages that they then razed to the ground. The villagers were given identity cards and relocated to new settlements along highways and major roads, and their movements were strictly monitored. The army and paramilitary soldiers kept strict watch over these settlements. Zamawiya, who had risen to become the defense minister of the MNF, had spoken to this writer extensively on the insurgency in Lushai Hills and the bombings. Apart from resettling villagers in what he says were regulated camps, hundreds of civilians were arrested and tortured. Many disappeared, he said. The bombings, the destruction of countless villages, and the resettlement of villagers in what were like penal colonies, the atrocities committed by soldiers, and the large-scale human rights violations still rankle the Mitsos, says Dean Nunna. The wounds suffered by the Mitsos have healed, but the scars remain. The government of India has done nothing to address the emotional scarring of the Mitsos, and that is very unfortunate, he had said. Every year, March 5th is observed as Zoram Ni, or Zoram Day, by the Mitsos. Prayers are held all over the state and people are urged to forgive the perpetrators of the crimes and atrocities committed on their parents and grandparents during the 20 years of insurgency from 1966 to 1986. The Mitsos, Dean Nunna had said, are willing to forgive, but the government of India has to ask for it. An acknowledgement of the bombings and the atrocities that followed would be proper and right. March 5th is inarguably one of the most shameful days in independent India's history. Though not well known in the rest of the country because an ignominious chapter has been suppressed by successive Congress governments in Delhi, people of the northeastern state of Mizoram have been observing the day for the past 56 years with a lot of pain.